My guest wrote her first little paper book at the age of 8 and tied it together with string. Janet Burrill has come a long way. Her short stories and poetry have been published in magazines. She's written several stories for children. Now, with the help of Word Alive Press, Canadians can relive the world's worst disaster at the time, December 6th, 1917. Dark Clouds of the Morning is your historical novel. And
Yes.
It is going gangbusters.
It sure is, praise God.
And this is a woman, by the way, who runs to catch the bus at 80. You were just commenting on Jim's queries about
Yes.
feeling young and
I do feel
how
young.
you respond when people suggest something else.
They do, but I won't put up with it.
This is a former teacher, and we got that flavor already in the green room today. Janet, I'm wondering why you chose this chapter of history to bring to life.
I was always intrigued with it. My mother told me about it, and I just thought it was so interesting. And then when Halifax became my home, I got more and more fascinated with the subject. And I bought every book on the subject I could find. I went to the archives and learned everything I could. And then I felt the Lord leading me to write a book on it. Only this is a Christian book, the only Christian one on the topic.
Isn't that interesting? Now, you kind of have history in your DNA. Tell
Yes.
us where you were born and the significance of that.
Yes, I was actually born in Shelburne, Nova Scotia, beautiful seaside town. And my ancestors were United Empire Loyalists. They wanted to be loyal to the King of England. They couldn't be in the United States, so they came to settle in Nova Scotia and other places, and Shelburne was one of those places.
I'm very surprised to read about little Janet growing up. A very different person than I'm talking with today.
That's right.
Desperately insecure,
Yes.
very sickly. Just tell us about that chapter, if you can remember who that Janet was.
Well, I certainly do remember, and I'm glad she's gone and the new one's here. Anyway, I just felt insecure. I was an only child. Other friends had siblings. I was frail, sickly. I didn't know what was wrong, and I just felt a lesser person than my associates. But come to find out, I had celiac disease, and later on in life, after I had 3 children, and I became deathly ill, and then it got discovered, and then I regained my health from gluten-free food.
And just the health recovery is a boost, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I thank God.
We have a picture of you here with your 3 daughters. You have 3 daughters, and how many grandchildren?
6.
And your husband here with you?
Yes, and my 3 beautiful daughters.
Where are they living today?
Jane lives in Barrie, Ontario. Donna, the next one in the picture, lives in Kingston, Ontario. And Wanda, the other one, lives in Halifax, where I live.
And they've given you 6 grandchildren.
There are 6 wonderful grandchildren, 4 boys, 2 girls.
Now, did you call your husband Charlie?
Yes, I did.
A pastor for how many years?
Oh, land, I can't rightly recall. He was in his 20s, late 20s, when he became a pastor, and he served for a great many years. He died at the age of 78. We'd been retired for about 10 years.
We have a picture of the 2 of you. I think this is the last birthday picture.
Yes,
in
it was.
2006.
Yes, we were out at a restaurant. He loved birthdays. He loved to celebrate anyone's birthday, including his own. He was so happy that day, and so was I.
Now, you have an amazing faith story.
Yes, indeed.
You were a pastor's wife and both eagerly serving the Lord,
Yes, we were.
but you didn't know him.
Not personally. We knew who Jesus was. We knew what Jesus had done. My husband would proclaim that from
The pulpit.
But we didn't really have him living within us. We didn't know that was necessary.
You didn't know about a personal relationship.
No, we did not.
For how long?
Well, that was a year after we went into the pastorate, before we got to know the Lord personally.
How did that come about?
Well, what exactly happened was that a friend, a classmate of my husband's, phoned. He said, my nephew was killed in a highway accident. Would you come to the funeral and support me? And of course we would. That was further north in New Brunswick, where we had our first pastorate. And we went. And I remember it was a cold, drizzly day. We had to stand outside because the little country church was packed full. And then the pastor, you know, spoke to the loudspeaker to those outside, and he said, if this was your body lying in the casket right now, where would your soul be? And I thought, I've got to know. I need to know. I started to tremble for fear. Where would I be? Then later on, we went to the home of the dead boy's mother, and she said, I did all I could for my son, and now the Lord's got him. And she smiled, and she was happy. And I said, what she's got, I want. So that night we went to evangelistic meetings, and there was a pastor from south of the border, preached wonderful gospel. A real revival was going on. And I don't remember the topic of the sermon, but I do remember that he made a wonderful prayer at the end. He was saying, Jesus, I see you laying hands on the blind, they see, on the deaf they hear, on the lame they walk. And I thought, oh, I just reached toward him. I didn't say a word. I just felt my spirit reach. And all of a sudden I was filled with the greatest of joy. He was in me. And all the way home I said, Jesus is mine and I am his. And I kept saying it over and over. Then we went back. We brought our young people from our church, and Charlie received the same experience of knowing the Lord as I did a couple nights later. And we never looked back. And Jesus is our rock, our fortress, and our joy.